And we want to talk about something that's just become the highlight this past week itself. There's been a recent incident in the internet. It has been blown up in the medias and also in social medias and whatnot about those who send their parents to the nursing home. For me personally, and P, we've grown abroad. This is something that's very common in a way, not per se, in my family, but like seeing that, like we heard our friends, oh, your grandparents are in the nursing home, or like this weekend I'm going to go to the nursing home because I'm going to visit my grandparents.
Right.
It's something that's very usual. And I thought myself, my late grandfather was here alone. He was 91 and he's been living alone by himself for the past 20 years because my grandma passed away.
Right.
There was a discussion that I had with my parents saying that isn't it better that we sent Opa to I don't know how the nursing home is right here in Jakarta or Indonesia, but isn't it better that he's like amongst his friends where he can play chess, he can play golf with his friends and whatnot, other than for him being at home with the nurse and just stuck at home, right?
Yeah, there's many reasons why someone would consider sending a parent to a nursing home. For me personally, we lost our father many years ago, so my mother at that time was still getting into senior citizens age, but still perfectly fine. Now she's in her 80s, where you worry a little bit more about someone in their 80s if they're living at home alone for safety reasons, for companionship, just for activities, just to keep their brains, their minds, and their bodies stimulated as well, so they're doing things as opposed to just sitting at home doing nothing. So there's lots of arguments why this could be actually a good thing for the elderly or for our parents, but there's also arguments contrasting.
Right. So I was asking even to my parents or even to my family at that time, is there a nursing home where he doesn't have, like my late grandfather doesn't have to stay there, but on weekly basis, like 3 days in a week, he can be amongst his friends, Exactly, because all his friends already passed away way before him. So he's basically, counting like how many friends do I have left? I don't have any friends and whatnot. But it seems right here, especially in the Eastern countries, this is still somewhat a taboo matter. Now, nursing homes, some might thought are not a good place for our parents. Now, to discuss more about this matter, we have this morning a family psychologist, Joe Irene. Good morning, Irene. Once again, thank you so much for being here with us this morning. Since this is somewhat a very important matter also for me and Paul and to our viewers, is it, as we discussed before right now with Paul, is there been a recent debate on the internet, where those who send their parents to the nursing home, or we call it panti jompo right here in Indonesia, what is your intake in this? Do you think is it right, to place our parents in nursing home? As we know, nursing homes are very, very different than what we have back home in the States or in the Western countries.
Okay, in my opinion, actually, there's no universal answer for this. It's very personal for each family to decide whether to put your parents or grandparents in the nursing homes or not. Because there are several considerations that we should meet, especially the financial condition and also the mental and emotional capability to take care of your elders, and then also the culture. I think it's a very good thing to consider before sending your parents to a nursing home.
Right. Nobody actually ever says, and no, not to my knowledge, says, hey, you know what? I think it's time for me to go to a nursing home. Someone who is aging tends to, want to think that they're just fine the way they are, but maybe not recognize some of the signs. So some of the signs could be our parents start to forget things because in our old age, that could be something as well. And that's something that could be worried about. So in this case, when a decision has to be made about sending someone to a nursing home, whose opinion matters more? Is it the children or the rest of the family, the siblings that decide as a group collectively, hey, we think this is the best thing for you? Or does ultimately the final decision rest in the hand of the person themselves who are going to be sent to the nursing home?
Okay, if you want to see the popular opinion, they will think that, it's the parents' opinion that matters the most before deciding to go to a nursing home. But actually, it must be both, the family, the siblings, the child, and the parents too, because it will affect the well-being of the whole family. It's not just the parents or just the children, because having an elder in your home, 24/7 is like bringing so much impact. I can't say it's always positive, but it might be also negative because like what you just said, that they have some developmental issues sometimes, like forgetfulness, maybe anger issues that somehow arises in their late life. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, it's not something like I always tell my mom, until whenever it is that you're going to be here, you're always going to be with me. And my sister and my brother's like that. You're not going to go anywhere, mom, and whatnot. But seeing my grandfather, because it's very different. The way that I see nursing home, in the Western countries, is like, first, the price issue is very different. It's very, it's very not as affordable. It's very high price and whatnot. So it takes time. It takes an investment for the children also to save, to have an investment in savings to put their parents probably to their nursing home. But the way that I see it, especially the programs there by Irene and also Paul, I mean, they have bowling classes, they have, chess, they have, they're playing golf, they go to the salon for the, for the senior citizen that's female and whatnot. It seems they're having more fun. And in that period of time that they have left in their age, they enjoy themselves. As opposed to, I see some of my grandparents here, they're stuck at home, they can't go anywhere, especially during the pandemic and whatnot. So do you think, those activities can really relive, our senior citizens alive, in your opinion, Byron?
Okay, in my opinion, yes, it will really increase the quality of life of the elders. But again, it's a privilege to have a nursing home that have the facility like bowling and playing chess, like
activities
with other residents. Like it's a privilege because as long as I know that in Indonesia itself, there's not much nursing home that provides a facility like that. So like before sending your elders to nursing home, please do some visit to the nursing home to see like, are there any facilities that will increase the quality of life of your parents or your grandparents? Because if not, it might be worse in the nursing homes rather than at home.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a few different scenarios here, Mbak Irene. Which do you think is the best out of them? Perhaps living with us, moving. Let's say I move my mom into our house. But I'm a busy guy. I've got to work every day. I've got my own kids to take care of. We've got things going on all the time. So even though she'll be under the same roof, I likely won't have that much time for her. I can't wait on her hand and foot. Second, send them to a nursing home where they won't be living with us, but they will have new friends. They will also have people around the clock to be able to cater to their needs whenever they do. Now, or I'll give you a third scenario as well, because we have this option here in Indonesia, is to perhaps hire and live-in nurse or someone to take care, a caretaker or caregiver, to take care of the elderly in our family as well. Which do you think would be the best scenario, just in general?
Okay, in general, like we will see the ideal scenario here is the second one, maybe, where the elders are put in a nursing home and they can maybe interact with their friends even though they're quite far from the family. But actually, it's the decision is made by the parents to see which of the scenario is the best. Because some parents prefer to be close to their family even though they don't interact that much, rather than being far with strangers at first. Like it's regarding the personality of the parents, also the culture or the belief that the parents had. Like we have to consider that, but maybe for their well-being, it's better for them to socialize in their late life.
That's
it's
true,
the cultural differences, I think, that people are not accustomed to here. And especially in Indonesia or Eastern countries, we're family integrated, right? We're always with our families and whatnot. So it seems that it's very not common to see someone sending their parents or their grandparents.
Even when we get married, we're still living with our parents.
Exactly. Like, hi, mom at home. Thank you for taking care of the kiddos. Now, if let's say we had come to a situation, Irene, that we need to put our parents per se to the nursery home, how can we communicate with our elderly parents and tell them that we need to put them at a nursing home without hurting their feelings? And I know this is would be, you know, a very an absolute
Tricky.
kind of situation.
Okay, it might be challenging, you know, especially in Indonesia itself. Like when they feel like being sent to a nursing home means like throwing them away or being abandoned. Actually, we can really present the nursing home to them, like promote, like what's the pro and cons living there, and what's our commitment as the family. Do we like just send them there and like never meet them again, or like we commit to like visit them maybe once a week or maybe at least once a month? Like we have to convince them in that area. And the other one that we have to really consider is we have to show them that they will have a good physical care, they will have a good social activity or stimulation, especially daily stimulation. Also, like they will also have better safety there rather than at home. We can maybe not all families could afford a personal nurse, right? So it's better for their safety to be in a facility that provides all of those.
Right. I want to go back to the, you know, we've been talking a lot about the elderly and our parents.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to that point that you touched on earlier, Carolyn, in that story from social media in regards to the 3 kids sending their parents to a nursing home. Was it the
Without
mom?
her consent.
Right, without her consent, the mom.
Yeah.
I want to ask a little bit about the stigma that exists here, not just in Indonesia, but in Asia in general. Why do we have much more of a kind of a shameful stigma when it comes to sending the elderly into, let's say, a caregiver or a nursing home? Why is it looked upon as such a much worse thing, whereas it's actually done for positive reasons? Just like I'm sure these 3 kids had the safety of their mother in mind and the well-being of their mother in mind, but instead we as a society look at it as like, wow, you just want to get rid of your mom, you just don't want to be around her anymore. Why does that exist more strongly here than in other countries around the world?
Okay, maybe just like I mentioned earlier, as long as I see there's only like some nursing homes that provide a proper care.
Yeah.
Because some of them actually like have a lot of residents but not enough caretakers there, and the facility is all not well maintained. And just looking at the facility makes us feel like, why do I have to live here? Like it's better to live at home. So it's like a lowering down the quality of life. So I think that's why the negative stigma is still around in Indonesia, especially. Because in other countries, especially like in the States or in the Western countries, there are a lot of nursing homes that might be better, even better than their homes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's like look like resorts, some of them.
Exactly. That's why it's an investment.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably why it costs so much more too.
Correct. Yes. Thank you so much anyways, Mbak Irene. Thank you so much for being here with us this morning, and of course delve into the situations and, you know, the current kind of what is going on in the situation that we've already spoke about. Thank you so much, Mbak Irene.
Yeah. Thank you for your time.
Have a great morning.
Take good care. Stay safe.
You're welcome.
You know, if we want to elaborate more on this topic, you know, it's just it's also become somewhat like, to me, like I would never, like for me, I don't think that I could separate myself from my mom. I think I'm that Asian part of me. It's like I have to, you know, have my mom, and I'm gonna caregiver for her and whatnot. And I think living in Indonesia, it's much more easier for you to have an assistant. Again, we're so family integrated. We can ask our neighbor. Like my mom is at home. She's 85. If there's something happen, please, take a look at her because I'm working.
Right.
As opposed if you're in abroad, it's hard for you to have an assistant. It's very costly.
No, that's why I say that.
We're not common
that's why
to have
I gave
assistants.
Irene that third option, because we have that more available to us here than in Western countries. So that's basically not an option for others. Like to hire a live-in caregiver.
Exactly.
That's only for certain like of the elite.
Yeah.
However, I do have to mention like several situations are different in every way. Like, for example, your mom, I mean, she comes here and she's living with you the entire time she's here, and you're living with her over there. Whereas my mom in Canada, she's already living on her own.
Right.
In fact, the closest one of our siblings that lives closest to her is about an hour away. So, knock on wood, I don't have any wood here, but, if something was to happen,
Yeah.
it would be kind of a long drive
Correct.
to get there. So the consideration, you need to consider every factor.
Yeah.
Like, what are we looking at? What situation is she in
Yeah.
right now? Fortunately for my mom, she now has a companion, a live-in companion with her, so we don't really have to worry about that aspect anymore.
Yes.
But when she was living alone, it was
Yeah.
definitely a concern, and it was a
Right.
point of discussion between us siblings
Right.
as well. But it was everything 100% was for her
Yeah.
well-being, and final decision still rested with her.
And you know what? I just want to touch base a little bit what Irene said. The consent has to be from both sides, from the
Sure.
children and also from the parent. Now, going back to the, what happened right now that is become like a big booming
Viral
sensation
thing,
right now. It's because the mother didn't know about it. She was just put there on
Yeah,
the nursing
that's
home
shocking.
without her consent. And we don't know the purpose of the children. Like, why are you putting me here?
Yeah.
You should convey and communicate with me. Either I want it or not.
Maybe
you know?
they thought she would say no.
Probably, but you need to know the purpose, and children needs to give the purpose and communicate why. There's
Absolutely.
3 children. I mean, at least there's
Yeah.
There's one
I'm
to
sure
go
it was discussed
around.
amongst them. You should discuss it with
Exactly.
the person that it's actually
Exactly.
having
And
to do.
we're parents. One day we're gonna be grandparents, and we're gonna
Yeah.
be senior citizen. Like, I for sure want my kids to act properly to me.
Yes.
Remember where you were
Get
born?
my approval.
9 months
Yeah.
times 3. Okay.
Like my
anyways.
wife says, don't make me put you back inside.
All right. All right. Anyway, we still have more stories for you after the break. So stay tuned right here on the C Morning Show. We're almost close to ending our show, but many more updates coming to you.